Welcome to the new email designer and templates. So I'm going to walk you through an extended workshop on all of the features within the template itself so that you can actually change some of the blocks, understand them. Now, when I was looking through this, I thought there's a couple of things that I just want to highlight here. And this is the image sizes within the template. So we're working from 600 to 640 pixels for the content inside the template for best practices. So with that in mind, you should make sure that your images are not massively over this. So you're looking at doing images maximum width at about 640 to 650. Okay, so if you're putting them in as half images in the page, you would obviously do them at about 320. So just bear this in mind, because the biggest reason why mails go to people's junk and spam folder is oversized images inside of emails that are sent out. So those key things to look at is keep your images no greater than 640 pixels width. Okay, for half images, obviously half the size. For your logo, just get your logo so it's visually good on screen. So you're probably looking at around about maybe 120 to 240, 300 max. To be half the size of the template. It's quite big for a logo, so you probably want to come down to about 200. So play around with these things, but try to get these images the size you need them when they go into the email template. Now we'll also be looking at practices for once you've spent the time and created your beautiful email, you're going to want to probably reuse that as a template, and we'll look at that inside of the workshop as well. So the other thing that I wanted to explain to you is padding and margin. Now, if you're not used to the way that works, I want to explain it to you, because you've got two ways to approach the padding or the margin. Now, remember the difference between the two. Margins are outside of the element, yeah, and padding is inside, so it's pushing in. So for instance, if I had a button, okay, with text inside it, I'd use padding to push it inside the box, the button. But the whole entire button, I'd use margin to push it away from other content. So hopefully that's really clear for you. So the other thing that we use in the platform is we use numerics for padding and margins. So it's understanding the differences. So for each number in the sequence, such as 10 pixels by 20 pixels by 10 pixels by 20 pixels, those four work on different things. So I'm going to explain the order of that to you by having a look inside here. So I'm just going to do it here with this, and we're going to use margins in here. So you'll see I've got no margins. If you see the screen here where the Zenler logo is, where the Zenler text is, if I put in here something like, let's put 10px, you're going to notice that it's pushing in on that side, and if I put 20px in there, it's going to push in on the left side. Let's just try 60px here, see what happens, and it's pushed down. So let's put another 80 in on this side, and you'll see it's pushed in from the left. So this tells us that if I put in here 100, this is going to be the top. So the first digit is the top. Okay, the second digit here, let's just choose this, 200, is the right hand side. So top right. Then we have here, let's just put 600 here. This is the bottom. Okay, so top, right, bottom, and then left is this one here, which obviously pushes it right out. So that should hopefully make it clear. on that side of things. So you can play around with these, but once you've set them, you probably want to copy them and use them on other margin areas. Now the same will apply for padding as well. Now to make things a little bit complicated with this, you can also set two numbers. So if I set two numbers in here, 10 and let's do 100 px, this will refer to left and right, and this will refer to top and bottom. So top and bottom, left and right can be done as two numbers. So top and bottom, left and right. So if I remove the left and right, there we go, and I decrease that, I can set this so that I'm moving this around. This is probably the most complicated bit of the email designer, but it's actually quite easy once you work with it. I suggest if you're new to this, then you just work with two numbers. So this works with top and bottom, and this works with left and right, this second digit. So it will be like 70 top, 70 bottom, and then if I put 100 in here, it would be 100 left and 100 right. So it's nice and easy. Or if you need further control, you can use the 4 numbers that go in there. Okay, so it's entirely up to you. Now the way I've done it for margins there work exactly the same way, and if you empty this out, it will be 0 on everything. But padding works exactly the same way. So if I go into here, you've got padding here, you can see. So if I put 200 in here, it will push it down top and bottom 200. Okay, and if I did this in here, 400, it will push it in 400 left and right. So that's the hard bit of this. So I wanted to make sure that I focused on that so you guys really understand it in this extended workshop. I do talk about it in the workshop, but I thought I'd lay it out in there. So you can see the diagrams that I've got in there that show you where it pushes in. So hopefully that'll be clear. Lock that in your mind. Maybe do a screen grab of the diagrams, and that way you can see it. But that's how it works, guys. So ready to take the extended workshop and find out all about this amazing email editor and templates? Let's do it. Let's now have a detailed look at the new email designer. So let's create a new broadcast, which is how you always start when you're creating a new broadcast. Let's click create. Let's choose the email list where we want to send our email to and click next. So this will bring us into selecting a theme. So as you can see, there are quite a few different themes, and you can click preview to preview all of these themes, and you can also jump back to the themes here. I suggest you go through these themes and have a look at them. If you wish to use a theme, you can click next here, or you can click previous to go back to the main board. Let's click next again and go back to themes. So you're going to see we have some plain text versions here and a simple text version here, a text personal version here, and then we have more text based and news. So down here we have full featured themes with colours and styling. So any of these can be previewed and used. Spend some time going through the themes to decide on the layout you wish to use for your school. At the bottom, you can also switch to the classic editor. So this is going back to the older version editor that you're used to using already. This is if you don't want to use any of the themes or block builder inside here. So we've still given you the option to use the classic editor. Now, just as a side note, if you switch to the classic editor, you will not be able to jump back and use the templates. If I now click next, you're going to go into the classic editor and we cannot get back to the templates. So before clicking this, make sure that you definitely do not want to use any of the templates. If you decide after you've loaded this that you wish to use a template, you'll need to go back to your email broadcasts and reset one up. I'm going to delete this one out and reset one out to get back to where I was before. Like so. Okay, I'm going to choose one of these templates, this one here, this blue one, because it's going to allow me to change it and modify it. Now I've only got to show you how the blocks builder works on one of the templates, as it's common to all templates. So there's absolutely no point in me going through each individual template. Now please be aware that we may add new templates to this as well. Let's use this one, big change. I've selected it, so it's blue. Come down the bottom and click next. This will load the template into here. Let's give this a name. Let's personalize it. Okay. Okay, so if we click inside the template here, you're going to see that you have some options. Now, clicking inside here does not mean clicking any of the elements. It just means clicking inside here or off of the template. So you can see I've got this blue color here. Now, this email editor is quite intuitive. So as long as you know that these little blocks will appear, then you know there's options to be changed. So let's go and change this blue color to a different color. Let's click here and choose red. Straight away, the whole block changes. Now also, you're going to see if you mouse over that you have a containing block. Notice this red line coming up. Let me change this background color to something like a light gray. This will make it clearer to see, this red. So you can see in there, this is the block that contains all of this information within this block. It also means that if I click it, I'll have the option to change the background color for that block, like so. I can also change some of the settings in here, such as padding. If I put 60 in here, you're going to see a top padding change. If I put 30 in here, left and right are going to be pushed in as well, like so. Let's change this to 20. Notice it's top and bottom. So the first number is top and bottom, the second number is left and right. You can visually see this. If you wish to adjust the top, bottom, left and right individually, you can put other numbers in here as well. Like that. You can see that's a margin for the left. To make it easy, just stick with the 2. But you have that option if you wish. Let's have a look at our template now. So you can see this top block now does not line up with this bottom block, but it's no problem because I can come into here and I can change this to match our original padding. Let's copy that padding, go to the settings and put those in there. And now we've matched it. So it gives you real control over every element inside of here. Also, let's have a look at how it looks in a mobile. This is our mobile view. Let's click it again to exit mobile view. Now, if you're a coder, you can also change the HTML. You can do this on pretty much the whole page and block elements as well. Wherever you see these little brackets, greater than and less than, you'll see that you're able to add HTML. If you're not comfortable with HTML, don't worry, the editor allows for full customization just using drag and drop and feature changes. Text changes can be done really easily by just selecting the text and changing it. We can also change the text color. The heading level. Make it bold from in here. We can have a URL or a margin. And remember, you can use Ctrl Z to go back. Now, when you select what's called an element in here, you have the option to delete, duplicate, or see the code. You'll also see that you have a little drag icon here. This allows you to drag your text. You'll notice that the text will drag into the area in orange so that you can select it there. Zenler is proud to be one of the only platforms that uses true drag and drop throughout Zenler. Let's have a look at the options for text. So inside here, you're going to notice that these change based on where you click. So in here we have options. So one, you can add variables in here as usual. First name, last name, full name, email address, unsubscribe link. We can also go into this area and we can change the font. Now, we've given you a limited amount of font choices because these are common across all operating systems and apps or programs. So these will work on all devices. Now, also notice that the email designer is designed across multiple devices and has been tested across all browsers, Gmail, all email clients. So you can feel assured that your email will reach their inbox. Now, it is also important to remember that certain things we cannot allow for, such as if you have used too large images, if you have put too many images into the email, then that will affect deliverability. You should always follow best practices. As a technical note for image sizes, our dimensions for our template width are 600 to 640. So this means you do not need to use any images that are over 640. And obviously, if you're using a half image, you would do this at round about 320. This will ensure that your image sizes are properly reduced and optimized for use inside your email. Just remember this max number, 640 pixels for images inside your email, and you will be fine. Let's add a new text block to here. So I'm going to put a text block under here between this text block and this text block. So by selecting the top one here, I can click the add icon and choose from one of our add blocks. You have the option here to choose many different styling layout formats and also features. We have text, we have headings, heading and text, we have image, image with text, image with heading and text, we have buttons, links, dividers, spacing, menu, social media, and a list. And we also have 2 column blocks as well. Down here we have 3 column blocks and we have a miscellaneous section. So I'm going to just drop in a text block and you'll see it will appear inside here. Now we can go and change that text color, and we can quickly format it by clicking the settings, and we could change this size. And you'll notice it will change all of the size. We can also set individual margins for this element as well. So I'm going to go and choose a few different ones. I'm going to choose a heading inside here. Again, you can see our heading options come up, which you can jump between down here, and you can also change that text style as well if you wanted to. So very quickly you can build out your email. So let's go for heading and text this time. You'll notice it's just allowed you to drop a heading and a text block in. So it's basically done the same as this, but it's done it in one push. So let's drop another one in here. Let's go for image. So once again we have an image placeholder. So for our image we can click our image here, and again you can come across and change backgrounds and settings inside here. And if we choose that image, you're going to see that we have a border. We also have the image. So if I click image, you're going to notice we have a placeholder image. So we expect you to choose your file for this image, or you could paste a URL as well. Let's choose a file and upload it. Let's choose this one. And now, once I close this, it will be added into our email template. Also notice that we can change things like the paddings in here, or the margin, to push things down. So notice this is the top margin here. And this one, if I put it in here, will be the right. This one will be the bottom, and this one will be the left. Let's change that to 20. So it gives me absolute control over every element of this. Notice on this text I can also put a URL in here as a link. On the image, if we return back to this, we can also paste a URL for the image as well. And we can add a border. Let's go and add a border to this. Let's make that border an orangey colour. Let's put a radius on this border. Let's put a radius of 30 so it shows up. And straight away we've added a radius and a border to our image and added it into our email. Let's have a look at some of the other blocks we can add in. So you can see we can add an image with text. So this basically adds an image and then it puts text underneath, like so. Again, all very intuitive. And we look here and we say image, so this is an image with a heading with text. So it's basically taken the image, the heading and the text and made it in one handy block for you to push in. Now we also have buttons. So I'm going to click buttons. They're used a lot. So this is something that you need to know about. So we can change the text in here. And we can change the color. Let's change it to a black. Let's set a margin, like so. Let's give it a little bit more of a margin. On the top, maybe 20. The text color can be changed. We can add a border to this as well if we want to. Or we can put 0 for no border. And a radius. So if you want a square button, we can just do this. Slightly radius button, just put 3 in. We can also choose the URL in here, and we can change the text size as well as the padding. That's the spacing inside the button, and we've already looked at margin. So if I wanted to put the URL in for a link for this button to go to, I would insert it into here. Let's put a URL to our tutorial site. Notice you can also put a variable into the button if you wanted to. Let's preview that this button does link through to the tutorial site. As usual, click the preview down here and click here, and you'll see down the bottom left it shows tutorial.newzenler.com. Always test emails before you send them out. Let's go and check out more block options. So we also have link in here, so we can put a link in here. We can change this text. And we can select it, or we can change the color inside here. Really easily. And of course all the settings, margin, the URL or the link that you're going to, and of course our text size as well. We can also choose variables. Please note we can choose variables, and the settings and the text colors are featured throughout. We can also choose part of the text in there if we want to and add a link. So we can still add a link in there. We can also choose the school URL, put that inside there as well. So your school URL will appear in there, or just choose your own link and click insert, and you'll notice it's now appeared inside here. Let's add another block. Let's add a divider. There's our divider. Let's change the color to an orange. Let's go into the settings and make the height of this a bit bigger, 8. You can also set how far across it goes in the template. That's 50%. Let's choose another block. We also have a spacer block. So spacers allow you to add extra space between elements, like so. We have the menu, we can drop in there. So you can set menu items inside here. You can add to these. Click add. Notice that's not underlined. I can come in here and I can edit these to make them underlined or not. And of course you can select your URL to go in here as well. So we created a menu item that you can change the color for. And of course the sizing. You can also adjust the alignment. Let's add another item. So inside here we also have list and social. So here are our social. So under here what you can do is you can actually upload your own image. So if you are using the social, make sure that you have a set of images that are exactly the same size as each other. I recommend about 40 pixels or 30 pixels. Upload them in here, paste the URL for the link, and alt text. If it's Facebook, put Facebook. If it's YouTube, put YouTube, etc. And then you'll have social media icons in here. We've allowed you to use your own images inside here. Let's go to list. So a list would just create a set of listed items. Which you can change the color for, change the setting type and ordered type, put variables in there, you can add links, and you can set the alignment. Let's look at the next option. So now we have two column. So this works exactly the same way as these items in here, except you can just populate column rows. All of the settings in here are the same as you've got with all of the rest. But notice that you can change them on an individual basis. Plus the whole row with columns can be adjusted in here and even duplicated. Two columns for images works the same way. Two buttons, links, headings, images with headings works the same way as we've already looked at. Three columns works exactly the same way. And miscellaneous down here are for different options for heading text, text headings, headings with text images, images with heading text, text with images, and images with text. Let's just drop this one in. So you can see inside here now we have the image on the left hand side. And we can go into image and choose a file. Let's choose this one. And it will drop into here. Again, we can paste a URL for that image as well. Let's change this text color. And we're done. Let's look at this in mobile view. You can see it works beautifully. Down here we have shortcuts for undo, redo, delete, bold, etc. Now this is the first iteration of the email editor, and there will be more functionality added as we move forwards. But I'm sure you'll agree this looks amazing now, and it's amazing what you can do with this. We can even change the background color of blocks individually as well. It gives you maximum flexibility for the look and feel of your emails and to get them branded with your site really easily. Now, as one final note, when you're finished editing and you spent a long time setting things up, if you save it as a draft, you can use it as a template. So for instance, this has now been saved. I can preview it here. And if I want to use this as a template, I can simply just edit this to be our new template. So this will always stay in draft mode, and I will duplicate it every time I want to do a new email from this template. So if I click save now and we go back to email broadcasts, if I want to reuse this template, I will leave it in draft and I will simply click clone. And click clone, and now I will have that email template. There we go, and it will save me redoing this. Again, I didn't mention the logo at the top, but you can change this logo out the same way that you can change everything else out. You can choose that file and you can replace it. Like so. And this link over here, if you wish to change this link. And that is our new email editor. So we spent the last 30 minutes just going through this and showing you how it all works. We're sure that you're going to love this new feature brought to you by Zenler. Enjoy the new email editor.